The long dark hallway ended up with a sharp turn to the left. After walking the distance, the adventurers found themselves in a small room with no doors. The only objects in the room were a stone stand with what looked like some kind of gem on top of it, and a wooden box at the bottom of the stand. Bob, always the one to take charge when no apparent threat is nearby, approached the stand. He took a look across the gem's surface and said, "I know a thing or two about precious stones. We can get a top price for this." He picked it up and quickly noticed a small piece of folded paper at the bottom of the little hole which the gem was placed in. Inside of it, there was a note. "This gem is worthless in the hands of fools. Its light is priceless to the master of tools." "Worthless my hollow butt this gem is, I tell ya," said Bob. "We can get at least 500 gold pieces for this thing. I happen to know just a guy who'd be willing to buy." Jack, always the one to challenge Bob's claims, asked, "What's in that box?" pointing to the wooden box at the bottom. Bob, still holding the gem, ducked down and opened the box. "Well, it's just a set of old jeweler's tools." Jack's eyes twinkled with excitement. "Jeweler's tools, you say? Let me see." He approached Bob and grabbed the gem out of his hand. Channeling the divine power of Gond, the Wonderbringer, Jack felt a strong compulsion to illuminate the gem with magic and then cut it in half. He picked up the small saw from the box and started cutting. Bob was shocked and started yelling, "Jack, for the love of everything holy, what are you even doing? Stop!" The rest of the adventurers were startled too, but they prevented Bob from jumping on top of Jack. Jack, on the other hand, paid no attention to his companions and focused solely on the fine and precise motions of the saw in his hands. Imbued with godly knowledge, he was aware just how delicate the process is, so he took his time, making sure the cut is as fine and straight as humanly possible. Upon finishing, he connected and aligned the two halves back together and placed them back in the hole on top of the stone stand. The two halves emitted a strange, focused beam of light at the wall in front of them. Jack hurried up to the wall and lightly tapped the brick which the light beam was pointing to with his fingers. He felt it moving slightly, so he pushed it back with the palm of his hands. The brick fell out on the other side, and the whole wall started rotating, catching everybody by surprise. Everybody but Jack started screaming in panic. They ran across the room, but the wall has already separated Jack on the other side. "Jack! Jack! Are you all right?" Even Bob was worried with the sudden turn of events. Jack, however, had a gut feeling everything is going to be just fine. There, right in front of him, was a glowing orb of destiny, the artifact of immense power that was lost countless centuries ago. Conflicting historical records and contradictory information about its true powers made it so that only a few actually believed it even existed. However, every tale, every song, and every legend told of a large, transparent orb emitting a faint white light around itself. There was no doubt in Jack's mind, but just to be sure, he placed the palm of his hand on the orb and invoked the divine sources of knowledge once again. Just a minute later, with a victorious grin on his face, Jack turned around and said, "Guys, it's fine. Now we have everything we need to stop the bloodshed and save the world." Okay, everybody. Hopefully you were amused by this little bit long intro once again. The topic at hand today is a skill monkey build, but not just any type of skill monkey. This skill monkey particularly, he's an expert in almost every skill he's proficient in. Now, I actually tried to make this, I had the basic idea of making this build as expertful at what it's or he or she is doing, but I wasn't actually capable of finding a way of making it an expert in everything he's skilled at, but it's pretty expertful in most of the things he or she is doing. Now, before everything else, please, if you enjoyed the video so far and you're still watching, like, share, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell button to get notified in the future when I upload my videos again. I'm trying to upload 2 or 3 videos per week. Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not, but that's sort of like frequency of uploads you can expect from this channel. And with that said, let's just delve quickly into the build at hand. Now, I actually didn't bother going that deeply because I think the theme of this build is only skills and just having proficiencies in as many things as it's possible. So we are focusing only on skills and other proficiencies here, not on spells, not on anything else. So it's a Bard level 10, Rogue level 6, Warlock level 2, and I'm sorry, but I actually didn't put the 4th class here. There we go, Cleric level 2. Background is Pirate, just I mean, thematically it kind of makes sense with what I envisioned for this character. But yeah, you can pick any background. I just make sure you have all of these skills checked. Obviously, we want all the 18 skills. Not that many hit points, but you don't really need them. Since you will be so skillful at everything you do, you can kind of avoid combat. Well, hopefully you can, maybe sometimes you can't, but who knows, maybe even you can, like, completely. You know 4 languages, plus the common language, obviously, and thieves can't. Can't, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Cue the memes about cunt, right? Yeah, 4 classes. Actually, you are a 10th level spellcaster, because you're a 10th level bard. So yeah, you have quite a bit of spells, like 5th level spells, right? If I'm not mistaken. I mean, I'm not mistaken, obviously. So yeah, with that said, let's just quickly go into what kind of classes and subclasses this build is actually built upon. Now, first of all, we are starting with the human variant. Obviously, we need to point by here. If you are rolling for stats, make sure the rolls are actually on your choice, meaning that you can choose which skill is getting which roll. And even then, like, you need at least 3 rolls to be 13 or above for this build to actually be even possible. Now, with point by and a human variant, we put 2 ability scores to Charisma and Constitution. I actually put the Constitution at 1, even though it's only 13, because I want this build to have a particular type of feat that increases Constitution, but more on that later. So with that said, we are primarily a Charisma based build, because we are going to be primarily invested in Bard, and Bard is a Charisma type character. Feats, there are 2 feats that you want, but in my mind the first feat you should take is the Prodigy feat from Xanatar's Guide to Everything. If you are a half elf, half orc and a human, you can pick this build. We are obviously a human here, so right off the bat you gain 1 extra skill proficiency, 1 extra tool proficiency, and you get a fluency in 1 more language of your choice. On top of that, also one of the skills that you have proficiency in, you get double the proficiency. Basically, you get the expertise feature on that skill. Now, obviously, back to the build, we have the human variant. We already covered that one up, and then after that we have the Scout Rogue level 6. That's the first class. That's the class we are going to start with. When you get the level 6 of Scout Rogue, so the particular type of rogue, you get expertise with any 4 skills of your choice that you are proficient in. And on top of that, the Scout Rogue also gives you proficiency and expertise in nature and survival skills at level 3 of your Scout Rogue. So yeah, there's that. After that, we want the Valor Bard. We want the expertise also in all 4 skills that you get with when you hit the 10th level of Bard. And on top of that, when you... Not the Valor Bard, the Lore Bard, what the... yeah. Lore Bard, you get expertise in 4 skills. Plus, on top of that, you get expertise in... You get proficiency in additional 3 skills of your choice, which gets you closer to that proficiency in all 18 skills, right? After that, we get Knowledge Cleric. At the first level of Knowledge Cleric, you get proficiency and expertise in 2 intelligence-based skills. So Arcana, History, Religion, and Nature, you get those 4. Obviously, we already have Nature from the Rogue, so we will pick 2 of those other 3. And finally, last but not least, you can go Hexblade Warlock, which is what I would do. But you also don't need to invest in Warlock. You can just take the skilled feat. But I pretty much like the Hexblade Warlock here, because it gives you the 2 necessary, the last 2 skills that you need proficiencies in. Skilled feat gives you 3 extra skills, and at that point you already have 16 out of 18. So you pretty much only get 2 extra skills with this feat. And that's why I would actually go with the Warlock multiclass. Because you can take the Beguiling Influence invocation. And with that invocation you have proficiency in the last 2 skills that you are not proficient in, Deception and Persuasion. And you get the Hex Warrior feature, which we all know is pretty much ridiculous. It gives you proficiencies in light, medium, armor, shields, martial weapons, and you can use 1 melee weapon per day as your charisma based weapon, not dex or dexterity or strength. So with that said, we won't delve deeper into the spells. We won't really cover anything else. All we want here is to have our 18 skills and as many expertises as possible out of those 18 skills. So let's see how we can get 13 out of those 18 skills, how we can become experts at these skills. So this build actually gets proficient in all skills at level 9, and the way I built it, you get the last 2 expertises at level 20. But you can actually choose to not invest in Hexblade, even though I don't see the point why not, if you want to get the last 2 expertises at level 17 or 18, 18, right? Yeah. So, yeah, with that said, obviously at first level we pick Rogue. We get 4 skills with Rogue. We get 4 skill proficiencies. Variant Human gets us 1 extra skill. Prodigy Feat gives us additional skill proficiency and skill expertise, and the tool proficiency and 1 more language. Obviously we get a sneak attack as well. Cleric, after that at the 2nd level, we get medium armor and shields, which is pretty neat. Blessings of Knowledge gives us the much needed proficiency and expertise in 2 skills of intelligence-based skills: Arcana, History, Nature, or Religion. Obviously, we will get Nature from our Rogue, so we will pick Arcana, History, or Religion here. After that, I would actually say go Warlock right away until level 4, because at level 4 you will get the Beguiling Influence invocation. You will also have Hex Warrior at level 3 of your character. Also Hexblade's Curse and Pact Magic and all of that stuff is pretty good. For your other invocation, I like Devil's Sight, but you don't need Dark Vision with this feat. With this build, I just feel like to be just like the type of build that that is capable in any situation, you need to be capable to see in the darkness, and what better way to see in the darkness than to have Devil's Sight? Because Devil's Sight is the only type of sight that sees fully in the dark. Even if it's a magical darkness, you can see just fine. So this invocation kind of makes sense with this type of build. Now after that, level 6, so level 5 and level 6 you go rogue up until level 3 of your rogue. You get cunning action, you get those bonus action abilities. The most important part is the scout archetype. Obviously we want the scout here because the scout is what gives us the proficiencies and the expertise in nature and survival skills. And that's what we are going after here. Obviously at level 3 you also get some other goodies, like the ability to move away from your opponents and stuff like that. Pretty neat, but yeah, not that important for this build. After that, go 3 levels of Bard, because at the 3rd level of your Bard you get the expertise. Obviously we want to get as many expertises as quickly as possible with this build. Also, when you multi-class into Bard, you get 1 extra skill proficiency, you get some spell casting, obviously Bardic Inspiration. Jack of all trades is going to be useful here, but only when... well, actually it's not going to be useful almost at all, because at this point you're proficient in all skills. But yeah, if you actually decide to not go with Warlock, but opt for a skilled feat, Jack of all trades is going to help you with those last 2 skills that you are not proficient in, just to be like a little bit less, a little bit more capable in those 2 skills. Song of Rest, obviously, and the most important parts are expertise. And at level 3, you get the bonus proficiencies because you're a College of Lore Bard. You get the bonus proficiencies in 3 skills. So at level 3, meaning at level 9 of your Bard, you are proficient in all skills if you take the Warlock route. Obviously, if you take the skilled feat, you will need to invest in either Bard or Rogue up until level 4 to get that additional feat. So yeah, at level 9 you have all the skills, and you are expert in like 6 or 7 out of those 18 skills at level 9. Maybe even more. Let me see, expert here like 2. You get 4 here. You get 6 here, and yeah, you're expert in 8 out of those 18 skills at level 9. Now let's see how we can get additional 5 expertises. Obviously, after you pick Bard, you would go with Rogue here, because Rogue gets the additional 2 expertises sooner than the Bard. Rogue gets its additional 2 expertises at level 6, so we are going to be maxing Rogue up until level 12. Also, at 4th level of Rogue, at 10th level of your character, you will pick the Tavern Brawler feat, because, I mean, you can go with the heavy armor proficiency. You can pick the feat that gives you the heavy armor proficiency, but I really like Tavern Brawler here. It kind of makes sense with your background, because you're a pirate, and pirates are more inclined to start brawling in the taverns, right? So you get proficiencies in improvised weapons, and you also get proficiencies, like your unarmed strikes become a D4, so you kind of like learn how to box, like you become proficient in boxing. And on top of that, your constitution is increased by 1, so if you remember, we left our constitution at 13 here. So our constitution is going up to 14 here, so we get a +1 ability modifier on the constitution. So yeah, this is why I really like this feat on this build. Kind of makes sense thematically, and it also falls really good with the numbers, so it's all good in my book. After this is when we go back to our 2nd level of Cleric. And why 2nd level of Cleric? If we go back to our Knowledge Cleric and read the Channel Divinity, Starting at the second level of your cleric, as an action, you can choose any skill or tool, and for 10 minutes you have proficiency with the chosen skill or tool. Now, we don't need skills, but we need tool proficiencies. There is like, I don't know, tell me if you know, but I'm pretty sure there is no way for you to become naturally proficient in all of these tools on the screen. Like, there's like 15 tools here. There's no way other than asking your DM to somehow give you access to all of these tools, and then spending like 1 or 2 years learning how to be proficient with these tools. Other than that, there's no easy way to become proficient with any particular tool for any amount of time, right? So this is where our second level of cleric comes in hands, because for 10 minutes you can become proficient in any tool of your choice from this list, right? This is the pretty extensive list of tools, and you can choose any tool that you want, and for 10 minutes you are proficient with it. So it's pretty good, actually pretty important for somebody that claims to be an expert in all things, right? At least in most things that he is skilled at, or she. Maybe it's a chick, right? After that, when we have our second level cleric, we go all the way bard level 10. We get additional like 2 ability score increases, which are going to be our charisma increases. Obviously our bardic inspiration is going to get better. We get 4 font of inspiration at level 5. Our bardic inspiration becomes a short rest mechanic. Counter charm, not that useful, but I mean, yeah, give us more the goodies that we are good at. Additional magic secrets, you get additional spells. Song of Rest. The most important part is additional last two expertises at level 20. I mean at level 10 of your bard, but at level 20 of your character, and magical secrets as well. So back to our character sheet here. As you can see, we have all of these, like proficient in pretty much everything, mundane and unmundane, except for heavy armor. And you can choose to be proficient in heavy armor, but then your charisma is not going to be 20, it's going to be 18. I pretty much think that you don't need heavy armor because your strength is 8. You really cannot carry heavy armor if you are playing by the rules, so that's why I would choose to max the charisma instead of taking the heavy armor feat. But you can go that route as well. I mean, who cares? You can do it. With that said, this is pretty much it for the video. We are not going to delve deeper into the spell choices because really this build is all about skills and expertise. You can pick any spells, any bard spells that you want. I mean, obviously you will have the staple ones, but yeah, I mean, you can choose anything you want. And yeah, that's about it. If you enjoyed this particular video and if you enjoy this type of content, please hit like, share, comment, subscribe, bell button, all of those things that you know the drill. This is not the first video you're watching and you know how it goes. So yeah, that's about it from me. Up until next time, Min Max Munchkin out and goodbye.